Hey, I'm Shante and you're tuned into Itch FM. Today's show may be of interest to you because we're going to be catching up with the legendary Mikey D, hearing about what he's been up to for the last few years and also listening in to his apology to Mr. LL Cool J. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Mikey D, Elements of Hip Hop. And right now, you're listening to Itch FM. Holla.
Hey people, I'm Shante and you're tuned into a very special show today. We've got the legendary Take You Out With One Rhyme, battle rap general, all the way from the States, Mikey D, a.k.a. Mikey Destruction. Welcome, Mikey. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. Having you on the call today is really special for us, so thank you for being available. Let's just dive straight in. You're greatly recognized and appreciated for your talent to rap battle. Can you take us back to when you first rap battled and like how old you were and what the experiences were at that time?
Oh, wow. My first battle, I was I'd say about 13. You know, I started rapping when I was like 11 or something like that. But, you know, doing that at such a young age, I was shy and stuff like that. So we used to just do it in the basements of Johnny Quest's house, you know what I mean, or on the sun porch, the stoops in Queens, you know what I mean, just amongst friends and all of that. So, you know, we started doing these little tapes, and the cassette tapes, and the cassette tapes started getting out. You know, people started hearing us a lot. But we wasn't really going to parties because we were so young, you know, 13 years old, 12 and 13. Your parents wasn't letting you leave the block, you know, but our tapes were getting around. You know, one day we went to this park jam because they used to have the music out in the playgrounds, you know what I mean, and everybody could go out there for free and everything. So went to one park jam, 231, and like I said, the tapes started getting known in the community, this, that, and the other. So we went to the park jam not knowing that people were going to know who we were, and we definitely were recognized for the tapes. And then there was some rapper, I think his name was TLC or something like that, that actually called me out, you know what I mean, like for a battle because of the tapes. And he already had the reputation as one of the best MCs in the parks and all of that. Now, mind you, I never battled somebody that, you know, not even rap live in front of people, you know what I mean? So he kind of put me on the spot, you know, but the type of person that I was, it came kind of naturally because even in school, I was always a class clown who liked attention and stuff like that. And I always had a way with words, you know what I mean? So when he put something up against the wall, I had no other chance but to go out fighting. So I already had battle rhymes and stuff like that because I used to always listen to Grandmaster Caz and Kumo D and all of that stuff. So I already had it in me, and I did what I had to do to TLC. And that was my first taste of blood in the battling arena, you know, and I started becoming like a pit bull, a bully, you know. That was just my thing, you know. But, yeah, definitely about 13 years old in a park jam, 231.
Nice. So you got started at a really young age, and then you put your name on the map by doing your battles, and then you were associated with quite a few crews as well. You had Sensational Five, Clientele Brothers, the LA Posse. At that time, what were groups offering the music game?
What were groups offering?
Yeah, so you were associated with those groups. What was the role of the groups, and how was it entertaining the music industry?
Well, the very first group that I was with was the Grandmaster 3. You know, it was just fun to have partners and friends doing it together and doing the routines. You know, it was like harmonious, you know. Then I was with another group called the L.A. Rap Masters. Now, mind you, L.A. stands for Laurelton and not Los Angeles when I say it. You know, it stands for
okay.
But yes. So we had a bunch of rappers from the neighborhood. It used to be like 15 of us in Johnny Quest's front porch. And this is before the Wu-Tang Clan, years and years and years before the Wu-Tang Clan. We had like 15 to 20 MCs from the neighborhood, and we were called the L.A. Rap Masters. You know what I mean? And I was with another group called Sensational Five and Phenomenal Four. Now, Clientele Brothers, they were the difference. Clientele Brothers were like the Gold Crush, what the Gold Crush was to the Bronx, Clientele Brothers was to Queens. They were an established group. They used to dress alike. They were professional business-wise. They had dance steps and they had routines. They were older than me, you know what I mean? I was young. I was like maybe 13 and stuff like that, 14 when I met the clients. Well, when I started listening to the Clientele Brothers. And they were a little bit older. They might have been 17 and 18, you know what I mean, 19 at the oldest. And they were really doing it. And I admired them a lot because Eddie O.J. from the Clientele Brothers, he had the ultimate swag. Like, he was just the coolest dude that I ever saw. And Will Seville, his lyrical abilities was just crazy, and they used to always just blow my mind. Long story short, they got wind of us. I think they were monitoring the tapes, and they got a chance to see Johnny Quest and myself rock live in a park, you know, and we had the pleasure of going to one of the Clientele Brothers practices, you know, and then they let us do a little something at their rehearsal. And at the end of that rehearsal, they said that we were the newest members of the Clientele Brothers. Forget about it. I lost my mind. So it was off to the races then for Mikey D, a young Mikey D, because I think Will Seville was the best MC I've ever heard, and I think Eddie O.J. had that international swag. So I had those two, you know, mentoring me. So I had it all. And plus, I already had skills, so it was crazy. So the Clientele Brothers really stood out.
So you were still so young, associated with all these crews and taking on all these experiences, but you were also associated with LL Cool J, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Me and L, that was crazy because when I finally got into high school, I went to Springfield High School. I was like the nicest MC in the high school. And LL Cool J at that time, I believe he was going to Jackson High School, Andrew Jackson High School. Now, these two high schools are rival high schools, you know what I mean? They are competitive, basketball, football, whatever. Now they got MCs. Now, we had mutual friends that would argue about who was the best MC and this, that, and the other. So my man Dave Molicio got with LL Cool J's friend, Mello C or something like that, and they wanted to set up a battle. So it was almost like we were supposed to battle to support our schools, to see which school was the best or whatever. So we was supposed to meet up at this spot called Roller Castle, which Flavor Flav from Public Enemy, he used to be the host of these events. And Roller Castle was like a neutral area. It was like in Elmont, Long Island, which is away from my neighborhood and away from Cool J's neighborhood. And at that particular time, Cool J's name was Jay Ski. And, you know, I was Mikey D, and we met at the roller skating rink, and before we battled and all of that, we did what MCs used to do at that time. We compared notes as soon as we met to see, you know, to basically feeling each other out. Now, we both worked out because we had similar styles. Our styles were so similar that we was like, hold up, that's crazy. We had the same growl, our voice texture, our vocabulary. You know, it was just crazy. So we rocked out together. And from that day on, that's when we became friends, you know what I mean? We started going to each other's neighborhoods a lot more often and stuff like that, you know.
So that was your association with him. So what, sorry, go on.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead. What was your question?
I was just going to say it's funny that you mentioned Jackson High because my mum actually went to that school.
Oh, really? Yeah, Jackson High School in Queens, yep.
Yeah, that's where I was born, but now I'm over here and doing a telephone interview.
I hear you. That's cool.
So you and LL were friends. You became friends. You guys were rocking together and not battling against each other. So where was the separation in your friendship, or when did you guys kind of drift apart?
Well, what happened is basically when Cool J was coming around, we had a group that was called, I believe, the Sensational Four at the time. We wanted to be the Sensational Five. And we had Ever-Loving Kid Ice, Lovable Little B, Loverboy TC. I was Playboy Mikey D. And then Jay Ski, he came along, you know, so we wanted to get him down in the group or whatever. And one day he went home and came back the next day and had his name changed to Cool J. Now, mind you, that was a dope name. But everybody in our crew had like a little nickname in front of our name: Playboy, Ever-Loving, Lovable, you know. And me and
female fancy names.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So we were walking down Merrick Boulevard, me and Cool J, and, you know, he always rapped about and talked about how he wanted the ladies to love him and all of this stuff. So I'm like, you should just be like the ladies love Cool J or something like that. And, you know, he liked that name, so that's where the LL was born. You know, that's what the LL is from. But as far as us splitting paths, back in those days, I was a party animal. You know what I mean? I had a reputation on the streets of destroying MCs and also drinking a lot of beer. You know what I mean? When the 40 ounces first came out, I was the first one online to get me a few of those, you know. But, you know, I was drinking a lot of beer, and I was stuck in being a street legend or trying to build my reputation up to become a street legend, to whereas LL had bigger dreams, you know what I mean? He was more focused on getting a record out and being big time, and you know what I mean? And at that time, as us being young, I thought it was funny. I thought you're dreaming too big. That's some bull crap. You know what I mean? My dreams weren't as big as his at the time. And he got a contract with Def Jam, you know what I mean? And at that particular time, I wasn't familiar with Def Jam, so I didn't believe Cool J. I was like, whatever. And Cool J bought the contract around the way and said, look, Mike, we could be the next Run DMC, man. We signed this contract, man. Me and you, we could just do our thing. I'm like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, whatever, fuck that. Excuse my language. My bad. You know, that ain't going to work and all of this crap. You know what I mean? I was very stubborn, and my dreams weren't as big as his. And I would rather walk around the corner and get me another brew and talk trash on the block and battle whoever while Cool J ready to make records. So he did his thing on the solo level. You know, he came out with I Need a Beat and all of this stuff. Now, mind you, like I said earlier, when we first met, the styles were similar. You know what I mean? So when this record came out, people knew that LL used to run with us and we used to all hang out together. People thought that was me. You know what I mean? Because of the similarities in the styles and all of that. And then when they found out it was Cool J, a lot of people said that he bit my style. And me, you know, being the type of person I was, being that I wasn't out on records and I was a little jealous because he did do it, I was like, yeah, that's right, this nigga stole my style, blah, 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 just because I was, you know, I'm not even going to lie, because I'm a grown man that can look back on it, admit when I'm wrong, and tell the truth. I don't have, you know, if that hurts my reputation, so be it. I'd rather have a friend over a reputation anyway. But to long story short, you know, I kind of fed into a lot of the hate that was going on. You know, people, yo, that should be you, man. You should be the, oh, man, he came around here and he stole your style. Man, he even wearing Kangos, man. You was doing that first. But see, people don't understand. That Kango style and all of that, I got that from people before me. So how can I claim a style and say he did it when I didn't invent the style? Come on. And how could I say that he did my style lyrically when I said in the beginning, we reminded each other of each other. So he was already nice and he already had that style. How could it be mine? You know what I mean? That's what brought us together, the similarities. You know what I mean? But he went on to do bigger and better things, and I was left in the hood, and I was satisfying all of these haters that was like, oh, man, that's corny, you know, but yet and still I'm buying them another round of 40s, and we doing nothing but talking about LL's achievements, and I'm blaming him for my failures, which I think was totally wrong. So, you know, for years and years, I would throw sucker punches at him, take jabs at him on records and say stuff. And each interview, I would drag his name through the dirt and stuff like that. You know, this went on for years. And he even got tired of it at you know, some points. He would take little cheap shots at me, too. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, that was dedicated to me. I'm going to get him on the next one. You know what I mean? But
back and forth.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, the tension grew between us. For me, it was because of peer pressure. We had twin talents, but our personalities were so opposite because the way he was business-wise and industry-wise, I was street. You know what I mean? And that's what the difference was. I'm a street hero. He's an industry hero. You know what I mean? And I was comfortable with that, which was a big mistake for me. you know. So for years and years, I was just bitter, and I couldn't stand LL Cool J because he was so successful. And then, you know, like I said, years later now, I can look back at it and say, why would I be mad at him when he came to me first, big dummy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He came to me. So it's incredible.
So that's something that's been squashed now, and you guys are on a good path with each other.
Right.
That's great. So you didn't know about Def Jam at the time when LL was presenting it to you, but later on you were approached by Def Jam for the potential sign-in to their label, weren't you?
Yeah, I got a call from Russell Simmons. I got a call from Russ, and he asked me if I could come down for a meeting. And, you know, I went down there. And like I said, there I am drinking again. Got to have me a quart of beer or something to ride the train. And I was feeling paranoid at the time, you know, because basically what labels used to do is if they had a hot artist, they would sign another artist that sounds similar to that artist just in case that artist that's hot, his flame starts going down. So if they got somebody that's similar to him, they could you know, turn the flame on again with someone else. Me being, you know, tipsy and paranoid, I thought that they were trying to shelf me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just felt uncomfortable. So I turned down the offer. You know what I mean? It wasn't no large amount of money at that particular time, but my selfishness and my stubbornness and drinking on top of that, I turned it away. Like I was paranoid. Like this is a setup. You know, I was just thinking wrong. My heart was in the wrong place.
So looking back at that now, if you could have had a second chance at that time to take that offer, would that have been something that you would have chosen?
Well, I really don't know. I really can't say because at that time when I was approached, I think me and L's relationship, we were a little too competitive. I don't think I would have been comfortable on the same label with him because I would have felt that they weren't focusing on me the way they should be focusing on me as a label. Because now you got two rivals on the same label, and one of them is already out there doing his thing, and he's generating money for this label. You know, and I don't want to get caught. I wouldn't have wanted to get caught, like, you know, or try to be in competitive mode with him all the time, and the expectations were for me to, you know what I mean? It just would have been a very uncomfortable predicament for me. So
if I had
a second chance, I would have did it. But if I had a second chance of him coming to me first with that contract saying we could be the next Run DMC, knowing what I know now, hell yeah, I would have been down.
Would have taken that.
Yeah.
So you kind of stepped back from the music scene around 89, and that was a lot of the time when the gangster rap was on the rise. What would you say that time off did for you musically?
Well, I took that time off because you know, one of my good friends and producer was murdered. Paul C. McCasty, God bless and rest his soul. He was murdered, you know, and then the gangster stuff was coming out. And I'm the type of person, anybody that knows my history, well, they can easily tell you when I write from the heart, and I don't write from my pocket, and I write the truth. If I said it, I did it. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to talk about running around shooting people with my crew because, I mean, my crew was wild at the time, but I wasn't no gunman. So I'm not going to rap about it, and it just wasn't my thing. So I went down to Florida for a bit, you know, in 89, actually. I even made a record out there in 1991, No Strings Attached. And I called myself Cordless Mike with my boy CeeLo. We did a record. Nobody even knew it was us. You know what I mean? But I just chilled out. Because also, in 89, my daughter was born. You know what I mean? I had this beautiful child that needs to be raised. You know, it was just a lot of different things going on. I lost my Nana, which was my grandmother, my best friend on earth. You know, so I was going through a lot. And plus, the drinking started getting a little heavier. You know what I mean? At a young age.
So it was a time that needed to be had off.
Exactly. So, you know, I took a long time off, and I really, you know, I wasn't feeling the direction of the music, and I just, you know, I just felt that was one of those times when I was almost ready to quit, but something in me would not let me quit, you know?
So that's when you came back in the 90s with Main Source. Was that more of an informed decision, would you say, or was that really just about you getting back into music?
Well, yeah, absolutely me getting back into music, you know, because I started hanging out at Hush Productions, the studio down there, and I met a fella that you may be familiar with, Jeff Red. And me and him became real good friends. And, you know, I would go down there all the time just freestyling, banging on the piano, and me just rapping my heart away. And people used to be bugging out off of it, you know what I mean, because I still had it. And Jeff Red was telling me that there was a group that was a familiar group that needed a rapper. And I was like, well, let's do it. He didn't tell me the name of the group or anything. He just gave me an address and a number to call and to go meet them. So I went to the house, knocked on the door and everything, and, you know, the DJs answered the door. And once I saw them, I already knew who they were. I was like, all right, Main Source. I remember, I know these guys. I love their videos, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know Large Professor. I didn't know he left the group and all of that, you know. I thought I was getting down with Main Source, and I was gonna rock out like Nas and them, you know. But I wound up being the lead rapper because Large Professor left the group to some issues that I would later find out about. You know, I had no idea what was going on, and I thought it would be a good move to get me back. Instead of starting from scratch, I'm with a group that's established already, and I'll just bring my lyrical abilities to the table, and let's get this like I was never gone. So that's how that happened. That's what happened with that. You know, but things didn't work out. And I did like 2 albums with these guys. You know, I went to Canada and did 1 album with them, and Wild Pitch didn't like the album because you know, I wasn't in my element. I was in Canada. It was too friendly for me.
It wasn't the same vibe.
Yeah, I couldn't feel it. It wasn't that New York vibe. I needed that back. You know what I mean? And then, you know, once Wild Pitch turned down the first album and brought us back to New York City, that's when, you know, the growl came back. And that's when I did my thing on that album. But unfortunately, it wasn't pushed and promoted correctly because of inside problems with management and the label and all of that. And mind you, I was never signed to Wild Pitch Records. I was signed to Main Source. So I didn't sign a label deal. I signed a production deal, you know. Again, I got the short end of the stick, you know, not thinking it through and not being business.
So you've got your fair share of lessons learned.
Absolutely.
So what would you say your position is in the music game now?
Well, me, I think right now, after all of these years, after all of the obstacles, I turned life around. I turned the obstacles into stepping stones. I never let people tell me I can't do it or I'm too old for it because I just make old look new. And now we got a new genre of hip-hop, which is classic hip-hop, and that's right up my alley. I'm still a battle cat. I will walk into a 17, 18-year-old cipher and annihilate whoever's rhyming. You know, I don't discriminate. Old school, new school, now school, then school. I don't discriminate. I'm still nice. And just because, you know, I'm a lot older doesn't mean it's over, because it's not over until it's over. I don't hear no fat lady singing, so I'm going to keep doing this until the day that I take my last breath. And right now, I'm more relevant. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I read in an interview that you said lyrically you're more dangerous now than before.
Yes, absolutely. That's because I'm more focused. I don't rely on alcohol to boost my ego, none of that. All of this is coming straight from the soul with a focused mind. I don't have any negative people in my camp, in my cipher, or around me. I moved, you know, from the neighborhood, and I just started out fresh. And I found God, which is the best thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people thinking that me apologizing to LL Cool J was a business decision, and I keep telling them it wasn't business, it was spiritual. This was something to make me feel good about myself, because I've been carrying this load on my shoulders for years. And the day that I had the chance and opportunity to apologize to L personally, it felt like it was lifted. Now I could fly again. You know what I mean? It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a spiritual choice and not a business decision.
And that's good that you guys got the opportunity and chance to resolve that. You've got Calm Before the Storm. Can you talk to us a bit about that and Day of Destruction? What are we expecting to hear from that and when?
Oh, wow. Well, Calm Before the Storm, that album will be released on April 2nd. The reason I call it Calm Before the Storm is because, you know, like people know, I've been on a nice little hiatus. I'm coming back as a new me, a whole new person. So that means I'm like a new artist. But Elements of Hip-Hop, we are a breath of fresh air to the hip-hop community. The reason we're called Elements of Hip-Hop is because we are two elements of hip-hop. I have two DJs, and I'm the MC. So that means I'm in four-wheel drive. You know what I mean? We're bringing back what we used to do, but on a 2013 type of level. It's like a trip back into the future. I'm making old school look new. And Calm Before the Storm is titled that because it's a much more mature Mikey D. The music is great for everybody. It's not no killing. It's not a whole lot of cursing. I have something for the grown-ups that are my age and older. I have for the new school. I have, you know, straight up hip-hop with me rhyming. So I'm being very calm and mature. You know what I mean? Now, that's the lineup for Day of Destruction. Day of Destruction should be released maybe sometime at end of June, beginning of July when it's hot outside. And Day of Destruction is when I revert back to the Mikey D that people once knew. When I was battling everybody, when I was going crazy lyrically, I'm going back to that with the boom bap beats and straight up venom in my lyrics. And if anybody gets in my way, they're going to have a problem.
People are going to want to know and be aware of when all of this is coming out and where it's coming out. Have you got any social networks that you can plug so everyone knows how to get in contact with you and to find out more about your new and latest stuff?
Absolutely. They could check us out on Facebook. You know, I'm on there, Mikey Destruction, which is 2 words. They could check me on Twitter at Mikey D134. And they could check me out here on Skype, Mikey D134. As soon as I fix this doggone thing and we, you know, make sure everybody can get through, you know, make sure I'm not using my old account or any of that. But
yeah, check that out first.
Yeah, I'm going to check that. But definitely Twitter and Facebook, I'm always on. And I'm one of those people, I don't have a team of people running my sites for me. I do my own social networking.
So everything you say has come directly from you. Any responses will be straight from you.
Absolutely. Even if they inbox me, I'm answering you back. So
that's fantastic. Well, Mikey D, it has been an absolute pleasure. All generations are looking forward to hearing more from you, all your new stuff that's coming out. Everyone who supports hip-hop, we're going to help you support the mission to save hip-hop. And the viewers and listeners are going to be ready for you. So try and get over to the UK as well if you can, because it would be nice for us to see you over here and do something face-to-face. But you've been amazing. Definitely. We've enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.